right, guys. So, V, would you like to read your homework?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Um,
There you go.
I would say the history of slavery should be taught in secondary school in America. Firstly, it's everything which happened in America. The children should know about history regardless of its status. Secondly, it can help them to understand more why there are so many Black Americans, what the Black people went through and engage with the US growth. As the whites started to invade over the Black people, they were enslaved and treated like animals and transported to other new countries without getting any payment. It's actually a dark history, but it's better if the younger generations are being told and acknowledge that the Black deserve equality. Lastly, I personally believe that this implementation would help young people to have unity regardless of their colors.
Yeah,
So,
very good.
thanks.
So, here I have a question.
Mhm.
When the history of Cambodia, like Khmer history, was
Yes.
was Cambodia once a part of Thailand, or was it was first colonized by France, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I was reading that the only country in Southeast Asia that wasn't colonized was
Thailand.
Thailand. Yeah,
Mhm.
because they wanted a space between the United Kingdom
And
and
the
France.
France.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so there are no border disputes. I found that like really kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and if you think about slavery and you think about like colonization,
Mhm.
you know, just one wrong boat trip, one wrong boat ride back in the day could have changed everything. Um,
Yes.
you know,
It's like
So
like my Rouge.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like it's a nightmare, but like we cannot change. It's our history and we have
yeah,
to accept it. And maybe we have to learn from the history and we have
yeah,
to avoid that coming
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yes.
Aren't they still? There's still like one or two in government, right?
I'm sorry.
Isn't some of the Rouge still in government?
yes,
One or
Yeah,
two?
I'll say yes.
Yeah.
we
So.
we might not want to say, but
Oh yeah, you can't say. I'll say it.
Yeah.
He actually studied.
Maybe
but yes, actually,
yeah.
He studied in
Brother T
France.
is not here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could
Oh
not say
yeah,
as well because he is the military.
yeah. I know. Sorry, I don't want to get you in trouble. Don't
It's
want to get you in
Yeah.
okay.
trouble.
But
It's
teacher,
all right.
sorry, just before I did my homework,
What did?
um,
Yeah.
you said Thailand was not colonized, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the British and French wanted a space between their territories, so because they didn't want to start a war with each other, so they did not colonize Thailand because they wanted a
Yeah.
zone between their borders. They wanted like a buffer zone between borders. It was crazy.
Yeah, actually, just from my knowledge about the world history, I
Yeah.
listen to from international.
Hmm.
Um, Actually, for long-term colonialism,
Hmm.
yes, I agree with you. Um, Keeping a space between the France and British, but in fact, Thailand was also shortly colonized by Japan during the
That.
World War II.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think somehow Thailand is trying to hide some history that make it good.
Yeah.
Like many people just know that there is no colonialism, but
I.
actually Japan used to do that.
But I think when yes, I do know that, but I think
Yeah,
there's a difference when they're talking about colonized and occupied.
mm,
Um, Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a difference when you're talking about World War II and you're talking about Japan being in Thailand. You would say occupied, and
Maybe, yeah.
back in the day, you would say colonized. So
Mm-hmm.
colonized means you're establishing something. There was already things established in Thailand, I think, by the time Japan came over and occupied. So it's like when the U.S. Builds like a military base in like wherever in like Vietnam or something like that, or I don't know where in Philippines or South Korea. How about South Korea? I know we have one there. Um, or Japan, we occupy a military base there.
Mm.
So I think
Yeah,
that's like the difference.
mm.
So, but
It's
yeah,
good to do more search, maybe, because I just heard from them that it's kind of reasons.
yeah,
But yeah, need to do some research.
I was the reason why I know that because I had to or I read that was because I
Mm,
was reading U.S. history
yeah.
in for my exam last
Mm,
week, and
mm,
when we get to U.S. history is British colonization in America. So
yeah.
then what happened is we stumbled upon I stumbled upon Southeast Asia occupation of British, French, and Dutch, and then I read that real quick and then went back to my studying. So yeah, but yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, I can't wait to get out and start exploring Asia again. But okay, Kamara, can you read yours?
Yeah.
Thank you.
From my point of view, Americans should teach the history of slavery to children in secondary schools. Firstly, teaching history can help them realize what was happening in the past and that they can learn about war story concerning racial discrimination, especially the state turned to civil war because of intentionally creating slavery and passed to ending it in turn. Secondly, it will help educate children or young generation to think that they are living in a modern era where human rights are equally respected and promoted by the state. This leads to the state unity, dignity, peace among the nationals. Finally, this is seen as an important tool to change the ways people think about the equality of black and white as human beings who are born equally, and is also spiritually help promote the universal human rights.
Nice, very good, very good. I also, we touched on this yesterday, and I thought pretty deeply about this, about how maybe how D was saying she's not sure if primary schools should be taught. I actually think that yes, primary schools should be taught slavery, and I think you need to start these things. You need to start these conversations at a young age, and you need to let children know that it's wrong early on before outside influences take a hold of them in America, um, because outside influences are what shape our feelings about race. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So when when we have family members who might be racist, you know, it would shape our influence. And I know, especially in the suburbs of outside of the cities, there's a lot of racism that exists. And I think that talking about it at a young age will help in the future. So I actually think it should start in primary. Maybe not kindergarten, first, second, but definitely like fourth, fifth grade. I think would be good when you start developing ideologies and theories and things like that. I think, you know, these are when minds get shaped. So, and there is a way to teach it without making it sound brutal, you know? So, yeah, just thinking about that a lot yesterday. So, what we got? Where you at? There you are. Welcome to class.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Would you like to read yours?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think history of the slavery should be taught to students in only as secondary school in American because it's based on the two reasons. First, the sign indicate the previous path. It's meant to observe the right knowledge for students. Second, to avoid modeling for the younger generations. The reason why it isn't deserved to take in primary schools is because the age is too young for accepting the knowledge.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so you're yeah. Again, I think that it can be taught in primary, but I think that it would have to be done gentle, you know, and then I think when secondary school starts, then you can get into the real meat of the situation. So, by the way, can I just tell you it is very cold here today? I'm freezing. I'm freezing. That's why I have my football hoodie on. It is.
Oh,
Anybody want to guess?
10 again. Should be
No,
10.
no. It
15.
was. It was.
Oh, maybe 7 or 5. Oh,
Wow.
yep.
17.
Ah,
And
here is
it was 30 2 days ago. So, yeah. All right, good. Yeah, so, you know, I can understand. And Tyr, when we talk about this slavery and all this, in America, it's I was explaining. I don't. I wasn't sure if you're here yet or not. Um, that in the suburbs, in the countryside of America, it's mainly white. So, to teach these in primary school, uh, delicately might be a good thing. So, children don't develop racist views later on. You know, um, it's tough. It's a tough thing. So, but okay, cool. Come here. What's going on? Are you partying over there? Okay, guys. So what we're gonna do is today's
wow,
lesson. We're gonna talk about voting in America because it's so weird.
politics.
Yeah, kind of. We're just gonna talk about the U.S. voting system. We're not going to get into politics of it today, but how it works and why, and should we keep this system in America? So we're going to start out with this. Who who remembers this? Does anybody remember this election, or am I the only one? I was in
No
college.
George,
I
no
was
George
in-
Bush.
I was in college.
I think maybe the brother camera era.
Yeah, still young. 2000, I was.
But
Uh,
you remember hearing about this on the news, right?
I
Yes.
just know George Bush, but not Al Gore.
So Al Gore was the vice president
Mm,
to Bill Clinton at the time. Okay, and he looks so young in this picture.
yeah.
But yeah, so Does anybody know why this presidential election was so important?
Yeah, because they are lived in the countries, and especially the US is a superpower in the world. If you choose the wrong leader, maybe you cannot have a power in the world.
Well, we uh, three times in this since 2000 we've chosen the wrong leader. So, you know, you're correct, but you're also kind of that's not why this presidential election is so important. Anybody else know? Anybody else?
Why you
No?
said like this, teacher?
Well,
But yeah,
okay, so here's what I'm saying. Um
for me, I don't know more about American politics, but
I know.
so far, what I understand is that um, there is difference between Republicans, the Republicans, and
Republicans
the democracy.
and Democrats, yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
yeah, I could see that when the world is shaking or the world faces many crises like war, economics, it could see uh, mostly Republicans go to the power in the US. So
Yeah.
Republicans they are more aggressive. They are more courageous to do things to dominate the world. Sorry to say that, but that's just my observation.
Yeah.
But
Whenever there's
sorry, yeah.
I will say whenever there's a mess,
Hmm?
Republicans are thrown out of office. So like the financial collapse,
Uh-huh.
they got a Democrat. COVID, Democrat. Yeah, but that's not. We're kind of going astray here. So let me get back. The reason why this election was so important had nothing to do with the candidates, really. It had to do with the election process.
Hmm.
So, who would like to read this part right here, if you can see it?
Okay.
Yeah, can you read it?
Yeah. 2000 US presidential election. There were no clear favorites between Vice President Al Gore, the Democratic candidate, and the Republican Senator George W. Bush.
Yeah. So, who would like to read these three right here?
We?
Sure.
You, Mr. Ami?
Let's start you.
I can't say. So,
For the first time, the outcome of a presidential election depends on some hundreds of votes from one single state. Media initially reported a victory for Gore, but it soon became clear that Bush won Florida by 537 votes. The Florida Supreme Court ordered recounting the votes, and the US Supreme Court awarded the presidency to Bush.
now, this is why this election was so important. Tira, can you read this?
Yeah. For the first time in some 112 years, the president lost popular vote but won electoral vote in the states.
Yeah. So, what the heck does that mean? What does it mean that he lost the popular vote but won the electoral vote? So, what that means is that this guy right here, the people elected him, and he received more single votes from people than George Bush. But because the way our election is set up, you can win the presidency through the electoral vote from each individual state and lose the popular vote.
Mhm.
So he's not the people's. This guy was not the people's choice.
Oh.
which is wild. So let's go to this nightmare. Okay. So we had, and I'll tell you what happened this day. I was working in November. I was actually bartending at night, and I parked my car in a parking lot run by all West Africans. Good group of kids. Amazing. I love those guys. Um, and so I was the first out of the bar. Like I was the first one to, because I was there early. I was the first one to be able to leave. So I leave, and they're all huddled around the TV while I'm waiting for them to get my car. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And they said, oh, Donald Trump just won Nevada, the state. And I'm like, he'll still win. Don't worry about it. You guys will be safe. Donald Trump isn't going to win. So I call up my friend Eric, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to come over to watch the election. Is that cool? And he's like, yes. So I get over to his house, and he's like really upset. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, Donald Trump just won the election. And I'm like, this is horrible. So so what happened is, as soon as we realized that he won, we booked flights to India and left the country for a month. So yeah.
Why you happen like this?
So yeah, that's just a little funny story. But
Funny, yeah.
2016 election, Donald Trump was the winner over Hillary Clinton. But again, just like in 2000, here is the general popular vote. Who has more votes?
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, by almost 2 million, right?
Yeah.
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 Weird,
Teacher,
right?
Yeah, I think, sorry, just interrupt, but at the time, like in Cambodia, we also supposed that Clinton was supposed to win as well.
Yeah, right.
But based on the popular vote. Sorry.
Yeah, based on the popular vote.
Yeah.
So this vote was the second time that somebody received the popular vote, but didn't win the election. So since 2000, this is the percentage of wins. So since 2000 election, he actually lost the popular vote since for a 0.5%, by 0.5%. Okay. Then during his second term, he won by 2.5%. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Obama won by 7.3 and 3.9, and then again, the Republicans lost the popular vote by a huge margin, 2.1, and then you got Biden with 4.4. So what I'm trying to say is, especially with this election, you have a loser, and then you have, like, seriously, 9/11 happened, and George Bush got elected because of 9/11. But if Al Gore was in office for 9/11, I think Al Gore, usually when presidents get elected, they get reelected. So I think this guy wouldn't be in office for either of these terms, and you would have Al Gore. So it'd be Democrats across the board, really, if we had popular election. So what's up with this? Like, why? Why do we have this system? So what it is, so does anybody know why a president can get more votes and lose an election? It's because of the Electoral College. Does somebody want to read this? How about V? Hello? Anybody there?
We put a silent mode.
You hear me? You hear me?
The kids were running around.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Let's get started. In the electoral college system, each state gets a certain number of electors based on its total number of representatives in Congress. Each elector casts one electoral vote following the general election. There are a total of 538 electoral votes. The candidates have more than 700.
Your microphone's breaking up a little bit. But so she said,
Really?
yeah, there you go, better.
It's not well, yeah.
She said the last sentence: the candidate that gets more than half of the votes, 270, wins the election. So there's a total of 538 electoral votes, and each state has a number of votes.
Mhm.
So okay, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop, and then we're going to come right back. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. See you guys in like 2 minutes, and then we're going to go over the electoral system. It's real easy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
See you in a second. Okay. So we're talking about the electoral college. So this is America, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Not China. Not China.
Not China, no. Not Cambodia, not Thailand. So what do you think all these numbers represent on here?
We want to say?
Yeah, if you know.
The constituency based on the number of population. If there is more population, there are more constituency.
Well, I think that's what you're trying to say, but I'll just say it in a little more better. But so these are the numbers of votes each state gets. So what happens is that you add up the popular vote from each state. So let's say in my state right here, Pennsylvania, okay? You add up everybody's vote in Pennsylvania, and whoever wins that vote gets 20 points right here. 20 points on the board right there. Okay? So let's say you get let's say like okay, so the 2000 election, remember we said it was Florida and it said that Bush won by 537 votes in Florida. Yeah. So here's Florida right here. Hold on, wait. Let me get my pointer on. Here's Florida right here. Because he won by 537 votes, he got those 29 points, and that won the election, even though he lost the popular vote. He had more points from the Electoral College map. So, who would like to read that first bullet point?
Me?
Sure.
The amount of votes a state gets is not based on state size. It's based on the population.
Yeah. So, we'll go to the next one. Tier.
Yeah.
Can you read?
Alaska is the biggest state in terms of size, but it only has 3 votes because it is one of the least populated states.
Yeah. So Alaska's huge, very big, very, very big. But it's not based on size, it's based on the number of people there. So it only has, right here, it only has 3 votes.
Yeah.
So And those 3 votes go towards whoever wins the popular vote in the state of Alaska. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. V, can you read the next?
Yes. The states with the most votes are California, Texas, Florida, and New York.
Yeah. So we have California has 55 votes, huge. Texas, 38 votes, very big. Florida, which was very pivotal in the election, has 29 votes. And New York City, or New York, which has 29 votes. And the last one, Kamara.
Most presidential elections are decided by which candidate can win the state of Ohio.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Penny is it's difficult to read, yeah.
Yeah,
And Florida winning those 3 states can earn a candidate 69 votes in the Electoral College system.
Okay. So these 3 states are very pivotal. And by the way, it's not 69 votes. I'm sorry. It's Ohio only has 18. So I don't know why I put 69. So it is what is 20, 29 is 49, 59 plus 8 is 67 votes. So you get 67 votes. So here's Ohio right here. Here's Pennsylvania, and here's Florida. And the reason why those states are so pivotal is because sometimes they vote Democrat, sometimes they vote Republican. It's always it's always a close election in those 3 states. So that's why those 3 states usually make up the election right there. So yeah, so when you add up all of these, whoever gets to 270 first wins the election. Understand? Any questions?
It's difficult to follow the last part you just mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think it's quite difficult about the electoral system. We need to learn more about that.
Yeah, it's a little tough. It's a little tough, but I feel like you guys can understand most of it. Basically, you don't have to worry about the last part. I was just telling you like the most influential states. So basically, when they're running a presidential election, the candidates usually focus on Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania because those elections are so close, and they want to win those points. So whoever usually wins those points usually wins the presidential election. So, okay. Everybody else okay? Any questions?
Yes.
If you have questions, you can throw them at me. How about this? Let's go. Let's check this out. Let's go to 2020. I'll show you the 2020 election map. Was this this is New York Times? Okay, cool. So this is the 2020 election map. Okay. Red is a Republican, and blue is a Democrat. So Biden won California, so we got 55 votes. 55 votes, right?
Yes.
But then Trump won Texas, so we got 38. So it's 55 to 38, right? So yeah. So basically, when you finish adding up all the votes from each state, Biden won because he got 306, and then Trump lost because he only got 232. Okay.
Yes.
Are you just saying yes or? Do you
No.
understand? You understand?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but you
I feel it's better. It's better than this one.
okay. Yeah, but you're a genius. So
I know what we're thinking.
yeah.
What's that?
No, just a secret one, you know.
Okay. So there are some problems with the Electoral College system. Okay. Who would like to read the first one?
Me?
Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Amin.
It's great the possibilities for the loser of the popular vote to win the electoral vote.
Yeah. So, America, we're supposed to be the great democracy, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. But
a mother of democracy.
yeah, but two times since the year 2000, the candidate for president that had the most votes didn't win the election.
Mhm.
So, I don't know if that's democracy. Next.
Me.
Sure.
The Electoral College system for this what teacher
Electoral college system further
for this what
mhm,
this what was
distorts,
that?
distorts, distorts.
Okay, distorts the one vote principle of democracies because electoral votes are not distributed according to population.
Yeah. So it kind of distorts, meaning like manipulates or doesn't make things appear clear,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Next.
Yes. Sorry, teacher, I turned off the camera. My
It's
internet
okay.
came.
Don't sweat it. I can't see you right now anyway.
Yeah. The Electoral College creates the possibility of 269 to 269 tie vote, and in almost every recent election, there has been a relatively credible scenario for such an outcome.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
there will be one day where there's a tie. And when there's a tie, I don't want to be in this country when that happens because
Why?
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be like riots and just
Mm.
like yeah, there are gonna be like some big fights going on. And yeah, I don't want to be here for that. I've seen uh, enough protesting and enough things happen in 2020 because of Trump that could last me a lifetime. So
Mm. So you
yeah.
mentioned this. You mentioned this. So did you have any clues that the electoral votes would become like this way, like the same votes? Or
You mean that it would become like a tie?
yes, like this, like 269, 269.
Yeah. Let me say. Not see the state votes. See what's happening in America now is that everything is becoming the elections are becoming closer and closer
Hmm.
in what we call swing states, states that are very important to the election. So
Yeah.
when you have these small margins where someone can win, where it's only a couple votes throw can swing the election um, to the other person, it creates the possibility where anything can happen. And also, the past two elections, um, the predictions have been off by a lot. As you know, like you were saying in 2016, uh, everybody thought everybody said that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the people predicting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Trump won. So you know, with having errors and mistakes in these prediction systems aren't good either. So having these errors, anything can happen. Nobody knows anymore because
Yeah, you're
of
right.
what is going on.
Mm,
And people like in 2016, people would say that they were voting for Clinton, but really voted for Trump because they were
mhm,
embarrassed. So
mm.
I think that's what happened for 2016. So, and then in 2020, people saw the pandemic and the way Trump handled it, and thought that this guy's a clown. I can say that, by the way. Trump's a clown. So, um, they just wanted him out, and yeah, um, I don't know. So anyway, um, so I'll read this one. So the current system makes it almost impossible for a third party to win the presidency. So, what are the two parties?
A
Democrat
Democrat
and
and
Republic.
Republic.
Yeah, very good. So
Mm.
they have independents, like a millionaire, billionaire named Ross Perot tried to run in 1996. Um, he was running as an independent, but he didn't get any votes. And they always like this in 2020. Donald Trump asked Kanye West to run.
Oh,
Kanye
what?
West. Yeah, do you know who he is?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
rapper.
he's crazy. So Donald Trump asked him to run as a third party candidate because he wanted to take Democratic votes away because a lot of African Americans would vote for Kanye West, and he was trying to take votes away from Biden. So
Mhm.
yeah, but it's impossible for a third party candidate to win the presidential election based on the Electoral College system. So there's always only going to be two candidates. And then lastly, who would like to read?
Mr. Ami, please.
Mr. Army, your new name.
Most importantly, it also that nominated elector to vote in whoever they want, regardless of who wants the popular vote.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get into that tomorrow. But basically, what's going on now is that the state has electors, and the number of electors are to the state or to the population. Remember, like we said before, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So they go, once this happens, all the electors go to the House and cast their vote for the president. And what is supposed to happen is they're supposed to cast their vote for whoever the people want it in their state. But now voting rate laws are being put into place in America where these electors can vote for whoever they want. So if the people voted for Biden in next year's in 2024's election, and let's say a state like Texas doesn't feel like, let's say Biden won Texas, but the elector says, "Oh, we don't think Biden should win Texas," and even though he won the popular vote, they can vote. They can put in and vote for whoever they want. So it creates a problem um, with these laws. So yeah. So little homework: should America do away with the Electoral College, and why? I'm going to put why in there. Sorry. Why or why not? So yeah, that's all that we got today. Let me stop share. So you guys have any questions about this? Any questions about the Electoral College or anything? No?
No.
think I better read it more. Seems
um,
like I have many questions. Yeah.
what? Oh yeah, what are your questions?
Okay. I think you better Google it.
What?
I better Google.
Google? Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, you guys can write whatever you want. I mean, I don't care. I just want writing. I want to see what you write. I want to see the grammar, and I want to see like critical thinking. So, okay.
But I think this one is very tough for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Like I'm not really interested in politics, and now I
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
He
Well,
only interested on the microwave.
and
Okay.
and fashion
And baby.
Yes, I do.
and H&M.
Yeah.
Good.
So what about brothers? Was this all right?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Tier?
Yeah,
Just
that's all
want,
right. You got
just want
knowledge.
to say some good word to the US.
Yeah.
It seems to be proud for you because, like, during the US election, the world is watching the elections. Like,
Yeah.
even at my house, I just opened the TV and saw it all the time because
Yeah.
it was living the result.
Yeah. And
And
it
when I got in my office, everyone talk about US, all the things and elections. So yeah, so proud of you.
yeah. So yeah, I wanted to give you some insight on how a president gets elected and why these states are so important and so bad sometimes and how the system is not right sometimes. So
Mhm.
yes. Okay, guys, I'll let you go,
Okay.
and I'm gonna post the homework right now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, and
Thanks.
see you all tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
see you tomorrow.
Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
teachers.
Bye.
Bye.